and welcome. I'm Katherine Watson, your host, and I wanted to say welcome to the Educational Nurse videos. So in this series of videos, I want to talk about something that's kind of personal to me and how I feel like I can help nursing students and someone who has ADD or ADHD or even dyslexia, that they can become a nurse. That was one of my biggest fears going through school, educational, like elementary to middle school to high school, is that I had ADD and I am dyslexic and I had to learn different. I had to think different. Throughout, I was on a IEP and I had special extra things that I had to do because everybody else just seemed to get it, and it took me a while to get it. And I learned study tips that helped me. And then when I started going to school, I went to a small community college. I took some of the prereqs for nursing, realized I passed, and I said, maybe I do have what it takes to do this. So I started doing my study tips that I learned throughout school and started applying them to nursing. And it took me 6 years to get my nursing degree, but I did it. So understanding ADD in nursing. So you need to know how it affects your learning and your focus. You lose focus so quickly. I am, as you can see me making this video, I'm kind of all over the place because it's like my mind is going a mile a minute, and I had to learn to compartmentalize putting things in certain boxes in the way you studied. And I started realizing there's different types of study or learning types, I should say, because I also teach at the bedside. So I deal with a bunch of different students with different learning disabilities, and I help them because I personally, like I said, experienced it. So it's basically reading out loud to yourself. When I was in school, I would read out loud to myself. So I'm reading it, seeing it, and then hearing it, because I can sit there and read a paragraph and read, and then all of a sudden like wake up from this daydream I just had and say, what the hell did I just read? So then I have to go back and reread it. And I realized I was frustrated with myself at first, but realized that your brain did process it because you read it, but you didn't like fully absorb it. So just take that as like a learning lesson for you, saying, okay, I gotta go back. And then you're going to reread it again. And this time, it's like your photogenic memory kind of kicks in and you remember reading it. And if you read it a bunch of times, it starts to stick, because the next part of things is the visual part. And this is where I would say to start breaking down and visualize, this is the body, the human body that we're seeing. The liver's over here, the stomach's here, the pancreas, the GI. And then you start breaking it down once you start learning nursing fundamentals. Is that, okay, the heart's here, the blood only goes one way, so it's going to come up from the right, go into the right, go into the left, go into the lungs, come back, go to the right, and then out the aortic arch kind of thing. And it's the flow. So then that's when you start learning the fundamentals of congestive heart failure, let's just say right-sided. We know that there's going to be edema, swelling in the legs. So that's something that you start breaking down, and that's why when you study, and I have Archer review for the NCLEX, I have found is very affordable option among nursing students, because some of the reviews I read is that it is affordable. Like, I guess one pricing, it's like $78.99 up to like $119, like let's just round it up to $120, which is decent, and it gives you time to start learning and there's so many different varieties of study materials. It has comprehensive a question bank that you just take questions. It's computer adaptive test, so there's video lectures, there's full-length webinars, there's resources, there's so many different things. And they do, from what I review, have a high pass rate for the NCLEX. And then it's just the flexibility. Like I have in my course that I created, the new Nurse Navigator, it's beyond the NCLEX to mastery at the bedside, because school prepares you to take this test, but nobody prepares you to what to do at the bedside. So going back to like my study tips, is that you just need to know and learn how you study and how you absorb the information and stuff. So it's the study strategies are breaking down into smaller sections and focus on one thing at a time. So the next part is active learning. So you engage with the material through hands-on practice. And that is the simulations that you do in class, but also the teach back, meaning that you read out loud to yourself and you start visualizing it. Then it's the time management. This is one of the big things that I talk about in my course, is that time management is so important. They bring it to take a test, learn this, learn that, but no one teaches you the time management part of it, or I say the documentation, because that's a lot of what my students sit here and ask me about is, I'm worried about documenting, I'm worrying about this, I'm worrying about that. And I give them little tips about it, but I was like, you can't fully worry about it right now, because it's like focus on studying for your NCLEX. And then that's where I come in to help you with the time management. But starting time management for yourself, it is setting clear goals. So I literally would drive to an empty parking lot, sit there for how many hours I needed to. So sometimes it would be up to 8 hours, a full freaking day. And I would basically lock myself in my car. I would read out loud to myself. I would go over stuff. My ADD brain will kick in and someone will be driving by and I'd be like, I wonder where they're going. I wonder what they're doing. Oh, squirrel, look at those. Oh, people walking by. And it's one of those things to let you know that it is okay to be distracted for a minute, because that's how our brains work. That's how the ADHD brain works, that you're so going in many different directions and you're so ahead of yourself sometimes that you have to learn to step things back. And that's why I'm saying with time management, I teach you that you have to put things with the flow. Your flow of your shift is the flow of how you study. So I talk about the Pomodoro technique. So it's like setting aside 25 minutes of study and then 5 minutes to go do something, because you can only hold someone's attention, I'd say, for teaching anybody is 20 minutes. And after 20 minutes, people are like, and that's average. So I've learned that so I can adapt to everybody. So everybody kind of becomes on the same page. And that 25 minutes of a solid study and then 5 minutes of a break. And you do this back and forth thing that you learn to kind of time manage. And then what happens is when you're doing it, time management in your clinicals and then being at the nurse at the bedside, you basically will find 5 minutes of your time, you'll start gauging it, and you'll know that you're okay, these 5 minutes I'm sitting and I'm documenting this one thing for this one patient. And then you write little boxes and you check off what you do. And then 25 minutes is actually doing the task. So your head to toe assessment, your wound. If the patient has to go for a test, you look at the board and you say, okay, they got to go for 8:30, and you plan around that 25 minutes that it's going to take you to get that person on their stretcher. If you have to have them go to the bathroom, you have to do something before they leave, because certain people need certain like heart monitors on before they leave. So you put that into a task. So then organizing technique is like keeping things tidy in your study area, because this is where I kind of pull in and say that distractions. So my course, the new Nurse Navigator, there's different things between distractions and interruptions. And they're different in the way of a distraction is, like I said, the scroll thing. Someone's going by, blah, blah, blah. Okay, distraction. Interruption is someone coming up to you and being like, hey, I need your help, XYZ, interruption, you gotta go, kind of thing. And you learn to know the difference and then kind of snap yourself out of it and be like, okay, this is what I gotta do, kind of thing. And then it's just incorporating short active breaks, as I said, to help keeping you focused on what you need to do. But also what comes into this part is focusing on support systems. So studying for your NCLEX, you need a study buddy. You need to find someone that you feel comfortable asking questions and you guys work well together. I had a group of 4 because I feel like 4, if it's only 2, you and another person, that's fine. That's why I'm saying I'm here too to help you to study, because I found that one of the biggest things is that one-on-one time that you just feel like you need to talk to someone who gets it while you're going to school and help you move on to the next step sometimes. That's why I'm here. But anyways, And then self-care and well-being is one of the biggest things too. And I talk about that of like the work-life, or actually life-work balance, that it matters. You need to take care of yourself, because if you don't take care of yourself, you're not going to be able to do anything for school or your family. So that's where self-care and well-being and coming in. And then once you start this kind of thought process, when you're actually a nurse at the bedside, because you will pass, you just learn to say, now I have to set different boundaries and all this stuff. I have resources all in, so the new Nurse Navigator, like I said, it's 7 modules of different stuff that kind of goes through. I actually have it written down. I wrote it down because I didn't want to forget anything in the 7 modules. So the first module is Intro to Time Management. Second module is the Delegation and Teamwork. Third module is Managing Interruptions and Distractions. Fourth module and the 5th module are actually the Nursing Harmony class that I have. So Nursing Harmony, Working Place Stressors, Time Management, and then Nursing Harmony, Managing and Maintaining Work-Life Balance. So those are 2 modules. I have a whole separate one that I made because as I'm talking, I'm like, your work-life balance, and it goes with self-care and well-being, and what you start with when you're just starting in your nursing journey and working on that. And I just thought it was so important, so I had that. And I figured it was important for you guys because I want you to get everything that you can out of this course, and not even that, everything you can get out of passing your NCLEX, because I realized that is the most scariest thing about you're going to nursing school and all this stuff. You're like, I have to take this big test to prove that I know enough to be a nurse. And I always tell everybody, you know more than you think you do. You can't know everything, and it's one of those things, take the test, but practice at the test, taking the practice. So that's why I'm going back to the Archer's review for the NCLEX. I just feel like that is the most affordable. It has a variety of learning stuff, and the high pass rate that they had. So it's just, I know some of it with the rationales. Some people were saying that it was somewhat brief, and I always say it's like, you got a question wrong. So I had the Saunders book, and you would answer a question, and then you got it wrong. I always say you look at the rationales of why you got that question wrong, and it will start to paint the picture of what you need to know as a nurse, and that's where your critical thinking kind of comes in, of like, why is this important? So then module 6 is the license defense through a documentation. Like I said, that's a whole separate course, and a lot of my students and everybody I talked to said, I want to know how to document. So where I am a legal nurse, and I work with lawyers for deviation of standard of care. Like I said, this is why I made the courses. I started seeing patterns through stuff and reviewing so many charts, and I see where a lot of nurses fall in their documentation, what makes or breaks the case kind of thing. And I just noticed that, like, there's a lot of things that are being missed. And nursing school, I know, does not fully prepare you. Like, there is no course for documentation. Like, there is no course, what am I supposed to document and anything else? So that's why I created that. And for you guys, you get access to a private community where it's just me, or I have other nurses that I work with. And we literally do videos like this, and we answer your questions of what you may have. So that's why I'm saying it's like the one-on-one with us. Like, you ask questions in the chat box or whatever, and I will personally answer them with a video. Hopefully someone else who's in the group might be able to answer your questions, and everybody kind of works together, because teaching, I found that no question is a stupid question, and that's how you learn. I teach saying that, like, what is this lesson? Like, you have experiences in life, and it's like, what is this lesson trying to teach me? Like, you have to turn sometimes the negative things that happen into positive. So if you didn't do well on that test, what could I have done better to learn? Like, I need to study, obviously. I didn't do well. This part of it doesn't work. And you can bring that to us, and we can help you. I can work together with you. And then the module 7 for my course is just putting everything together. So it's review, synthesis, and integration of bringing it all together and how it all works. So that's my course, the new Nurse Navigator. I'm going to leave the links in the comments, the description below, so you'll have the link to Archer, the NCLEX that I recommend, that I think is really, really good. And then you'll have a link to my course. So just remember, yeah, it is $497. But the good part about it is that you get the 2 other courses. So you're getting the Nursing Harmony, which is $298, and then the nursing documentation is $197. So put that together, you're getting the upgrade of everything, and you get the private community. Those other ones don't have the community in it, and that's what makes it so different and geared to all of you who are going to in school, hoping to be a nurse, like all of it where you are, and then you're new nurse, you're fresh off NCLEX, you passed it, congratulations, and then you're like, now what? What's next? What am I supposed to do? I'm not sure. And that's where I come in, and I want to try to help guide you in the right direction. So I want to say thank you for listening to me, and I hope you have a good day.